Okay, we're up to the second aliyah for Ki Tavo, verse 12. When you have finished tithing all the tithes of your produce in the third year, the year of the tithe, you shall give them to the Levite, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow, so that they can eat and save in your city. So you're not just supposed to give them a little bit. They actually have to be satisfied with what they're eating. And that means each one to their own level. Then you shall say before the Lord your God, I have removed the holy portion from the house, and I have also given it to the Levite, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow. According to all your commandments that you commanded me, I have not transgressed your commandments, nor have forgotten them. So this is super important that we do these mitzvahs because we don't want to forget. We don't want to forget the downtrodden. We don't want to forget the stranger, the orphan, the widow, or the Levite, because like the Levite doesn't have like an inheritance that he could pass on in terms of a specific shetach in Eretz Israel. But I mean, Levi could be right. Any of these people could actually have money. So it's really not really connected to the fact that whether or not they have money or whether or not they have jobs or how much money they're making. No, we give to them, doesn't matter. We give them a tenth, a tithe. So it's not like an unlimited amount of money that we're giving them, but we're forced to give. Like, why? So wouldn't you think that we should just naturally be givers? But apparently the Torah thinks that we're really not, because we might start making all these cheshbonot in our minds about why we shouldn't give. I mean, come on, there's this widow, like, can't she get a job? Or this orphan, like, come on, like, can't he or she get a job? Or the stranger, can't he or she get a job? And the Levite, they can do other things other than being a Levite when they're not in the base of Mikdash. So we have all these cheshbonot as to why we shouldn't give to the people, why we shouldn't give anything to anybody, right? I worked so hard for my money, why should I give to anybody else? So because we have these cheshbonot in our mind, because we make all these calculations about why we don't give money from our hard-earned money to other people, God forces us and tells us, no, you should do it, and you should be b'simcha when you do it. And I'm gonna make this confessional that I did it, and that I remembered it, and I didn't forget it. Because we always have excuses, we always push things off. Then you should say before the Lord your God, I have removed the holy portion. Okay, I already said that. That was verse 13. Verse 14. I did not eat any of the second tithe while in my mourning, nor did I consume any of it while I'm clean. See, this is something that you have to be in a state of purity. That's for men too, men and women. So purity is not just connected to a woman's menstrual cycles. Also, men had different things that would get them impure. Neither did I use any of it for the dead. What does that mean? Why would? Oh, maybe the money that you would get. I don't know. What does that mean? I don't know what that. I don't know why you would use your tithes, or why would you think you could use your tithes for somebody who's not alive. I obeyed the Lord my God, and I did according to all that you commanded me. Look down from your holy dwelling from the heavens and bless your people of Israel on the ground which you have given to us. And you swore to our forefathers a land flowing with milk and honey. So the fact that the land flows with milk and honey seems separate from the separate thing that's going to always be flowing with milk and honey no matter what we do. Now, of course, the land can kick us out if we don't do God's commandments. But here we're saying that there's also this other thing that's going on, this other dimension of that God's blessing is coming from above. So we have this idea that's mentioned clearly in the Torah that God's like has a dwelling place. It says from the heavens, from Shemayim. It even says that in the Hebrew that like. So I mean, it's like God's everywhere. Of course, God's eminence is like permeates the entire universe because God created the entire universe, and the entire universe can't exist without God wanting it to. So God's really everywhere. But we also in our Torah teaches us conceptually for our benefit, for how we relate to things and how it's better. Like we can't really conceive of God always being around, right? Because it'd be too heavy. We wouldn't be able to deal. We wouldn't be able to function. If we actually really totally understood God's total nature, we wouldn't be able to function because we'd be so scared out of our minds. So God makes this kind of barriers and hides itself, so to speak, and gives us this perception, even through the words itself, through the words of the Torah itself, that God's up in Shemaim. And again, remember, this is Moses Rabbeinu saying it. All right, so that ends the second aliyah. It's very, very short aliyah.